When I did my interview with Michael Herrera the other day, he talked about a specific incident that many in the comment section said was the Cash-Landrum UFO encounter. Now, I don't know if that's the incident Michael was talking about or not, but it's a fascinating encounter, so let's explore it. So get in here, this is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, years ago, I researched the Cash-Landrum incident, but it kind of faded in with many other UFO encounters in my mind, and it didn't really stick. But now I'm going to do a dedicated video on it, so hopefully this time it will stick, and hopefully you'll get something out of it, because it's a really interesting UFO encounter, especially because this UFO, this craft, seems to be one of ours. So let's talk about it. All right, we've got Wikipedia entries. We've got an actual drawing of the UFO signed by two of the witnesses. We've got Texas Monthly talking about it. There's numerous articles on this incident, numerous reports on it. Here's another one that goes into more of a deep dive from blueblurrylines.com. But yeah, the Texas Monthly is probably the most succinct version of the story. On the night of December 29th, 1980, on a remote road 40 miles outside Houston, restaurant owner Betty Cash, her friend Vicky Landrum, and Landrum's 7-year-old grandson Colby were returning home after a night out when a large glowing diamond-shaped aircraft spurting flames descended from the sky and hovered above the roadway in front of them. When they got out of the car to take a closer look at the object, which made a loud roaring noise, they were soon forced to return to the car because of the intense heat emanating from the craft. Cash claimed that as she grasped her car's hot door handle, her wedding band ring burned her hand. Soon thereafter, the mysterious aircraft flew away along with a swarm of black Chinook helicopters, military helicopters. Cash, who had remained outside the car longer than the Landrums, was admitted to a local hospital as a burn victim. All three passengers manifested different symptoms of what appeared to be radiation sickness, such as burns, blisters, nausea, rashes, severe headaches, sore eyes, and hair and fingernail loss. Cash was later diagnosed with breast cancer, and Landrum developed severe cataracts. "I've never believed in UFOs," Mrs. Cash later told reporters. "I was the first one to laugh. But," she added, "I was terrified. Now I'm afraid to look up." Two theories swirled around the incident. Either the object was an experimental military device which had gone haywire on a test flight, or some speculated it was a recovered alien aircraft which the Air Force was trying to fly. Cash and Landrum hired a lawyer who filed suit against the government for $20 million in damages. The case dragged on in district court for several years and called upon the testimony of officials from NASA, the Air Force, and the Army and Navy before being dismissed in '86 because no governmental agency owned or operated any aircraft fitting Cash and Landrum's description, at least that they're admitting to, right? To this day, there is no conclusive explanation of the night's events. Now, here's where Huffman is, or the location where this happened. As you can see, it is on the kind of in a wooded area on the periphery of Houston, the city where I was born. Love Houston. Got the best food there, guys. I mean, it's a big flat city. Not a whole lot to look at, but man, the food is good. But I don't know about the UFO activity. Where is this craft coming from? If it is a military aircraft, if it's a reverse engineered, craft of some sort, where's the base? Well, obviously impossible to tell. When I Google military bases in Houston, I do find a Texas Army National Guard base right near Huffman. Now, does that seem like a likely location for a UFO? Probably not. Probably not. It's probably coming from somewhere else entirely. Yeah. So let me know your theories on where this craft could be coming from. Quest TV does an excellent piece on the incident. A recreation with actors and commentators showing the incident where this family is going, or these friends are going, along this rural road, and they see that craft. This very interesting craft that at one point one of the witnesses believes must be Jesus' second coming and thinks they have nothing to fear from it. But of course, that's not what it was. It was this craft right here, and it was emitting some form of radiation or something that was causing them to be sick. And then it was escorted off by this was really interesting. It was so hot that it was, when they put their hand on the dashboard, it actually left an impression in the dashboard. And then the Chinooks, the military helicopters, escorted it away. But there's a sequel to this encounter with some new information that is very interesting. One day in April 1981, a CH-47 helicopter flew into Dayton. As Colby watched, that's the boy, he became very upset. Landrum decided to take him to the spot where the helicopter had landed with the hope that it would seem less frightening on the ground. When they reached the landing zone, they found a lot of people there already and had to wait some time before they were allowed to go inside the helicopter and talk to the pilot. Landrum and another visitor both claimed that the pilot said he had been in the area before for the purpose of checking on a UFO in trouble near Huffman. When Landrum told the pilot how glad she was to see him because she had been one of the people burned by the UFO, he refused to talk to them further and hustled them out of the aircraft. However, this confrontation was born of confusion as the pilot's incident, though also involving a reported UFO, had apparently taken place in July 1977, more than 3 years prior to the Landrums. So really interesting that, they were drawn to this helicopter for some reason to get information from the pilot. And he was indeed involved in a UFO encounter, but not theirs. It was a completely separate encounter. Was it one of ours? Was it one of theirs? Obviously, no way to know. But a really interesting anecdote, a sequel to their original encounter. Here are various depictions of the craft that they saw. But what about their health effects? What from this craft caused them, sickness? Was it a nuclear-powered device of some sort? I think Michael Herrera talked about nuclear-powered, ARVs, to use a word, alien reproduction vehicles. I don't know if that's still what they're using or not, but there is some additional information about that. Brad Sparks contends that although the symptoms were somewhat similar to those caused by ionizing radiation, the rapidity of onset was only consistent with a massive dose that would have meant certain death in a few days. Since all of the victims lived for years after the incident, Sparks suggests the cause of the symptoms was some kind of chemical contamination, presumably by aerosol. So maybe not a nuclear-powered ship? I don't know. What do you guys think? An article from the Military Times says, using publicly available data from the National UFO Reporting Center, researchers from the RAND Corporation found there was a consistent correlation between areas of military operations and public reports of U.A.P. sightings, a RAND researcher said. Now, of course, a lot of that is just going to be military aircraft that's misidentified. But how many of those sightings of UAP are actual either genuine alien craft or reverse engineered alien craft piloted from those military bases. Now, from my own research, some of which I've shared on the channel, it appears that we humans, the U.S. specifically, has been working on our own UFOs in conjunction with beings since the late 50s and 60s, and that we've had our own UFOs since that time. Now, were some of them nuclear powered and causing damage to other people? I don't know about the aerosol thing. If you're conversant on that, let me know how that could factor into this. But yeah, we seem to have had our own UFOs since that time. Were the beings that we were working with free and working with us, of their own free will? Or were they captured, alien in some sort of alien retention program, like Jon Stewart alleges? Obviously at this time it's hard to tell. However, we were working with the beings that were very obviously under their own free will at that time or around that time. For example, the Terry Lovelace case. I love to bring up the Terry Lovelace case because he's such a credible guy. Even Lou Elizondo has called him credible, and they have actually since struck up a friendship. But yeah, Terry Lovelace in 1977 was taken aboard this giant UFO that was even bigger on the inside, of course, than it was on the outside, and it was already significant on the outside. He and his buddy were taken up. They were seeing U.S. military personnel, a few of them, that were assisting in this abduction, working alongside beings, non-humans, aboard this giant UFO. And there are many other examples. Not all of them are as have the pedigree of Terry Lovelace, but I take them very seriously. So some part of the UFO control group has been working with beings under their own free will for a long time. Now, I think there are probably factions within factions within factions, and there's separate factions and opposing factions within the UFO control group. I don't think it's monolithic. And, as we've learned from Mike Herrera, there are pro-disclosure elements within that group. I hope we get some pro-disclosure elements within this deep group that is actually working with beings aboard giant UFOs. Now, my mind goes to, the secret space program and that whole story, of which there is some evidence. And I wonder who is doing that. Is that government? Is that a private contractor like Lockheed Martin or a range of different private contractors? To me, that would seem like it would almost have to be the government. Obviously the military is associated with that story. So, we're seeing this tension play out right now, I think, between the private parts of the UFO control group and the public parts, the government parts, ostensibly public parts. But, right now we're seeing the government trying to exert eminent domain to get access to this technology that Lockheed Martin and others have been hoarding. That's seems to be what we're looking at. But I don't think any of those have any, real part in that crazier, more sci-fi stuff. There's experiencers and whistleblowers who have described, this like an onion, like layers of an onion, and reverse engineering UFOs and flying our own UFOs definitely seems like a somewhat deeper layer of the onion, right? But the Terry Lovelace material and others like it hint that there is a much deeper layer to that onion. And somewhere in that core of the onion is the abduction program and the secret space program. There are many experiencers that report seeing military and government officials working with the beings during abductions. It seems to be a thing, a fairly not uncommon thing during abductions to see control group people working with the beings. But if we're working with the beings aboard giant UFOs, if there's a secret space fleet, then how in the world does it make any sense for there to be clunky UFOs malfunctioning and giving people radiation sickness or other forms of sickness. How does that make sense? Was this an early prototype and they hadn't started doing that yet? Well, no, because this incident in Huffman, Texas, took place in about 1980. The Terry Lovelace, the Terry Lovelace incident was in 1977. Now, that was one of their craft, not one of our craft. But it still suggests a strange timeline that I'm still trying to reconcile, because there are there's several reported incidents of UFOs with humans, actual, not human-looking aliens, but actual humans in military or other dress emerging from UFOs during especially the 60s. So, trying to make sense of it all. Let me know your theories in the comments below, because it doesn't make any sense to me unless there are different factions doing different things and different layers to that onion. How deep does the rabbit hole go? I don't know, but maybe you do. Let me know. All right, if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in an even bigger way, please consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos to check out on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.